So guys, today is Thursday and it is my day to clean, and that's because I have food orders, substrate orders, fish orders, and chaos freaking everywhere from my week. I don't know how I do this to myself. I mean, there is mess everywhere I look, boxes everywhere I look, and I need to get this place cleaned up. Oh, and a wood order I have to unpack. It is insanity, but just another day in the life of a fish pimp. This box is taped out on my floor because generally on Thursdays and Fridays is when I do my mock-ups for customers. So I'll either use one of these small tanks or I'll tape out the tank dimensions on the floor, and then that's where I lay out your guys' custom rock work for you. But first, I have to clear a spot in the fish room and get this place tidy so I feel like I can breathe again. Hey guys, and welcome to the fish room. As you can see, I've finished my massive cleanup, and now it's time to get started on my water changes. Now, I love Fridays in the fish room because I don't ship anything, so it means I can really take my time and not just change volume of water, but siphon the tanks, feed really heavily, and get a good look at all the critters. So I figured today I'd just sort of take you along with me as I do some of my routine maintenance. So let's get started. This tank houses my Elaeatica dorsigera, and I've been trying for a while to get them to spawn again, and they're just not doing it. I have a ton of this driftwood in here, and because of that it gets an insane amount of mulm build up in the bottom. So this is a tank that I have to water change and siphon quite frequently. The amount of mulm that just accumulates in here, and part of that is because I feed really heavily in this tank, because I'm really trying to get them to go, and I'm not sure what the holdup is. They had spawned 3 once before, which I showed you guys, and then the eggs got eaten. So one of these days I'm going to reboot this tank and pull all the other fish and see if I can't get them going in a little more controlled fashion. One of the things about breeding fish is trying to change variables one at a time until you figure out what's going to work. So this tank gets at least once a week a good vacuum and about a 40% water change. There's a bunch of random cories, some Ancistrus plecos, really ancient splash tetra, and the Elaeatica in here. And this is a tank that at some point soon I'm going to do a real reboot on because it's kind of ugly, but it has potential. So if I decide to do that soon, I'll take you guys with me along for that. So I'm just going to finish draining the water I want to change out for volume on this tank, and then I'll refill it and move on to the next one that I'm going to drain. You guys know this tank. This is the Kribensis tank. Unfortunately, my little breeder box of wigglers, and they actually turned to fry, got dumped over by an overzealous barb. So I have to wait for them to set up shop again. But this reboot has been really successful so far. All the cribs are completely fired up, and the plants are growing pretty well despite my, relative inattention to them. And I'll show you how fired up some of the females are here in a moment. You can see those bright purple bellies? These are some happy fish. You can see a lot of the females are fully fired up. And I would expect more fry any day now, honestly. This is the pipefish tank, and you guys know how excited I was about them. Unfortunately, when I came down the morning after putting them in their tank, the vast majority of them were completely covered in fungus. So I treated them, and I was able to save a few pairs, but it wasn't the big excitement I was hoping for. So with this tank, I want a lot of cover because the females are relentless in their spawning behavior. And I also have a ton of endlers in here so that they drop fry for them to eat in between the feedings that I supplement them with. Pipefish eat a lot, little and often, and it's really nice to be able to have some good small live bearers here to supplement them so that it's a little less labor intensive for me. You can see one of the pipefish going by there. I don't think they like me cleaning their glass and disrupting their flow. You can see there's a couple. So I have managed to save a few, and they look really good. Right now I'm just trying to keep them going to get some spawning behavior to try and raise up some babies. This is a tank of all native fishes, as well as some of the sumo loaches. There's darters, there's dace, there's sunfish, there's rainbow shiners in here. And all of these guys were given to me by a customer. And their tank is very murky, but it's on purpose. A lot of these fish are difficult to supplement, and by leaving a thick layer of mulm and heavy plant matter, it gives them some microorganisms to graze on. So as we look around the fish room, the tanks that are not full are ones that I've already siphoned and drained. And really the long part of me working in the fish room is refilling all the tanks that I drain every day. On average, I do about 15 to 20 water changes a day, so that every tank in the fish room gets multiple water changes per week. And this is mainly because I'm a retail operation, so I'm stocking the vast majority of the tanks extremely densely. So they need that volume changed. This is one of my Episto holding tanks. It also has Otocinclus. These are Epistogramma cockatoides orange flash. It also has Marginatus pencils in it. And all three of these fish quarantine really well together, because they stock really well together. Look at that guy, he's sexy. So as you guys may or may not realize, all the shrimp that I sell except for Amanos, I home breed or buy from American breeders. And this is why you'll see them come on and off my stock list pretty frequently. Once I get down to about 20 adults in the tank, I take them off my list and let babies grow out. And these are my blue shrimp, and there are quite a lot of babies growing out. So they'll be back on my stock list in another month or two. You see the Sundanio blue? I think they're really gorgeous in a dim tank like this. You can see that awesome like metallic sheen that they have. Now they tend to wash out in a brightly lit tank, but in a carefully or even not so carefully structured tank, they really do pop. And they're in this quarantine with the croaking gouramis because they again do very well together. Now the big boys tank is full of tannins from all that driftwood I put in there, and I'm being pretty darn unsuccessful in regrowing my algae. Now I don't mind the tannins for this fish. I think the murky quality kind of suits them since they're so primitive and, well, badass really. But whenever I get near the tank and start to do work on it, they all come in big, so I'm just going to let you guys enjoy their activity. They just want to be fed all the time, and they're interactive, which is part of what I really enjoy with these guys. The Cuban gar up at the top is the only one that I'm not totally in love with, and that's because that guy likes to bite me, and it hurts. They have double rows of razor sharp teeth. But you can see the poly and the tropical, they just sort of swim around begging like puppies for my attention. It's really quite nice. Now this tank gets a 50% water change once a week. I used to do more, but I have a well, so I have to be a bit conscious of how much water I'm changing. And with only 5 fish in this tank, it's generally suitable. Eventually I'll get these guys set up on a drip system so they're getting constant water changes, which would be my preference for big predatory fish that poop Lincoln lugs. Right now in the fish room I have 3 species of dwarf cory, and one thing you guys might not know about me is that I have a bit of a reputation as a catfish hoarder. These are the salt and peppers, the Habrosis. These are the Hostatus or tail spots. They're the rarest. And then those are Pygmaeus. Absolutely adorable. Teeny tiny little wiggly awesome sauce. These are Apistogramma burrelli blue. See a female here and all fired up. Absolutely gorgeous. A couple of males back there. I house these guys with fully quarantined harlequins and flame tetras, as well as some random ancestris. Try to maximize my space. Now with the smaller species, I try and quarantine them all in individual tanks, but with dwarf cichlids I find it works out better for the long term when they're overcrowded with fish that they stock well with. I feed my shrimp tanks sparingly, but I generally take the opportunity on Fridays to bait the tank and see what my stock levels are. These are my crystal reds and crystal blacks. I think they're gorgeous, and this is just a small portion of them, so that means I'll have some of them available before too long as well. Anyway, next up is inventory. I have a bunch of t-shirts, the Aqua Girls and the men's shirts that I love Aqua Girls are now in my possession, so I can actively sell them. I'll answer my emails, I'll do some mock-ups, take inventory of my dried goods and my stone, and really just keep plugging along, probably to about 4 or 5 tonight. So while Fridays are a calm day and that I don't have to go anywhere, they are a labor-intensive day. So I hope you guys have enjoyed sort of a peek into my daily grind. Make sure you stop back Sunday so you don't miss the next species spotlight.